Hello and welcome to IBTimes TV. I'm Leanna Brinder, Business Editor for the International Business Times. Joining me now is William Tebbit. He's from Trade Finance Partners and he's talking to me about the Scottish referendum. So hi, thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Leanna.
It's nearly voting day. Do you feel that there's been enough clarity from the campaign groups in terms of how an independent Scotland would tackle cross-border trade, let's say?
Simple answer, no. I don't think it has. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the debate has been very emotional on one side and very negative on the other. And as is often the case, the detail that's really relevant has been missed out, I believe, yeah.
So what kind of clarity would you like to see specifically, especially if you were only given, like, I suppose, 3 points that you really needed more resolution on? What would those be?
If you look at Scotland, there's 2.5 million people employed in Scotland, and about 350, 400,000 of those are employed by SMEs in the private sector. And that's over 98, 99% of all businesses are SMEs. And as we've seen across the UK, funding for SMEs is really tough. And I don't believe the question has been answered or indeed posed about how difficult is it going to be for SMEs, whatever happens, post or independence, or indeed if it stays part of the union. So I think that's the question that's not been asked or addressed.
Out of, I suppose, the whole of the UK industry, how much a proportion of financing, whether it's alternative or traditional, that comes out of maybe the south, like London, as opposed to lenders that are based in Scotland?
Again, that's a tricky question, but fundamentally, London is the finance centre, and I think that we have clients, some still active in Scotland, and they do tend to come south to look for finance because you always go to the centre of excellence. You know, if I want to buy whiskey, I go to Scotland. If I want finance, I come to the south. So that's where people tend to look.
If Scotland did become independent, obviously there would be a period where they'd work out the rules with the lawmakers. But what would be the immediate, I suppose, firefighting plan for you and your clients if on Friday they say that Scotland's going to become independent?
It's quite easy for us in that respect because we're a trading business and a lot of our clients are based overseas anyway. So we have clients moving goods from anywhere in the world, China to Sweden, USA to China, Japan to Europe. So in that sense, it doesn't matter to us. Of course, one of the things that matters to our clients is currency exposure. So ultimately, that's not going to happen on Friday, but in the longer term, that will. So for us, we can be flexible. We're a trading business and we fund trade. So in that sense, it's easier for us, but probably harder for clients because they have another thing to think about. They have another thing, which is currency, or indeed where are they going to find the finance, and can they get the support from their local banking?
If Scotland didn't become independent and stayed the same as it is, but have more enhanced powers over tax and maybe trade, how do you think that will go down in the sense of actual volumes of trade or expense for your clients?
I think that if you look at those SMEs, about 13% of the Scottish SMEs export anyway. And I think that even if they don't vote for independence, I don't think it's going to make it harder for them. I just think that overall, you've got to look at the union, the UK as a whole. It is tough for SMEs. And I think if you're looking at a country as a bank or a lender or a trade financier like us, you are going to question what's going to happen next. So I think it'll be tougher for people. I don't think that's been debated properly. And I think we'll just see what happens between that vote and whatever happens the next election.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
That was William Tebbit from Trade Finance Partners.